All right, here's a video of what to do with newborn puppies, particularly Chihuahuas, Yorkies. I have almost 30 years experience doing this, so I've lost many puppies. I hate to admit it, but it's true. You want the food bowls connected to the door. The reason you don't want them inside is because if they get into the water, they can either drown or get cold. And I'm going to explain how getting wet and cold can kill them. It won't kill them right away, but it'll kill them a few days later. The reason I don't have a crate in here, a crate liner, and I have shredded up paper towels, is because it's way safer. It's just so much safer. It's uncomfortable. The mothers have to be in here for 10 days with the babies because the babies cannot maintain their own body temperature. But it's just way better because nobody can get tangled up. I use this brand, Great Choice, and the reason I use that is because it has a ledge here all the way around the crate. So if a mother lays on a puppy, there's that space that the puppy could possibly crawl into and escape. And escape suffocation. It's uncomfortable for the mothers, I know. And believe me, I look at my calendar, and when it's day 8, I'm like, oh, good, you only got 2 more days, because I can't wait to get them out, and I'm going to show you where I put them, along with 17 Chihuahua puppies that I happen to have now, more than I've ever had, that are all around the same age. It's just way too cute. But anyways, I put them in a much better situation. But this is how I need to keep them so that they survive. Underneath this crate, I have 2 heating pads, and I choose Sunbeam. And with the ultra heat technology, the reason I choose this brand, you get them on Amazon, is they have no shutoff valves. Very hard to find. You cannot have shutoffs, automatic shutoffs. You gotta be able to just leave them on all the time. And the best, and get extra large, 2 of them. And then when the babies go in there, you put one setting on low, one on medium. Sometimes I'll put both on medium, kind of feel it out. But then I'm always hands-on, making sure nobody's screaming and yelling, making sure nobody looks like they're getting too hot. They'll pant. I mean, it's obvious when they're getting too hot. But it's hard to heat them up. And you don't want to heat them up too fast. That's why I like having one side low, one side medium, so they can kind of move around. And you want to have a shut-off, in case the power goes off, you want to have a battery backup. I use from Sam's Club APC. It was about $150, and that way, if you go somewhere and you come home and the power's been off for an hour, you don't have cold puppies that are going to die, because they will die if they get cold. So I got that, and double heating pad underneath. You can add more of this after the puppies are a few days old and a little bit stronger. A little bit bigger so that they don't get tangled up, but you don't want to do it, or you want to have too much of it in at once, because especially it just depends on the size of the mother too. If the mother's real big and her puppies are real little, you want less of this because there's more of a chance of her just laying on somebody and not realizing it. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to explain about the aspirating. When they're born, if you don't get them warm right away, they're going to get cold, and if they get cold and then they eat, then the fluid comes up through their lungs and it causes a respiratory infection. That respiratory infection usually kills them. It's the number one way that these puppies die. A lot of people, they look it up and they call it puppy fading syndrome, blah, 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 blah. No, what it is they get, at some point you let them get too cold. So I cut the cord myself. I don't let mommies do it, because when the mommies do it, I've woken up in the middle of the night, and this has happened more than once, and the mother ripped the guts out of the puppy. And the puppy was still alive, and they got these guts hanging out. I mean, it's a horrific thing, and I hate talking about it, but if it saves another puppy, I'm going to share my experience. So I don't sleep. If they're having babies, I'm up. And I cut every cord, and the way I don't say cut. I used to use scissors and cut. But that causes too much bleeding. So what I do now is I figured Mother Nature, she doesn't have scissors. She uses her mouth and her hands, her paws, and she kind of rips it apart. So I use my fingernails, and it takes me about 3 minutes or so, and I just shred it apart. And I'll do a video one day and show how I do it. But I shred it apart, and it's usually not bleeding much. And I just wait until it stops bleeding, tap it a little bit, and it stops bleeding. If I need to, I put a clamp on it. I don't like to use the clamps because sometimes when you take the clamps off, where the clamp was at, it ends up bleeding there. And then you have to end up using bleed stop, and bleed stop isn't good because you have to wait till it dries, because if you put them inside with the wet bleed stop, another puppy could suck on that, get it in their system, clog them up, and kill them. So while you're holding them, waiting for the bleed stop to dry, they're getting cold. So I don't like bleed stop, but you need it at times. So I try to avoid it by doing what I do. So now, and what happens when they aspirate, they get cold, the fluids go up into their lungs, and they get a respiratory infection. You can sometimes start them on Clavamox. If you start it early enough, they can survive. You do it for 10 days, but a lot of times they don't survive. And it's good to have an incubator with a, a humidifier attachment and an oxygen tank. The oxygen tank is very important because that's what's going to help you save those puppies if need be. It's better than taking them to the vet because you can use that in tube feed or try to hold them on the mommy to get them to suck, rather than having them at the vet where Lord knows what they're doing. They don't have the mother there. They don't know how to tube feed maybe because the vet's not doing it. So whoever little worker they have working there might mess up. I don't like bringing them to the vet. So now the fun part. We're going to walk over and I'm going to show you where they go on day 10. Okay. Excuse the rust on these things. We got rust on them. See there? These things are functionable, so I don't throw them away. I'm still using them. All right, so we got 4 babies here. See, they're much more comfortable after they come in here. These guys are more than 10 days old. They're 3 weeks old. Yeah, aren't you? You're 3 weeks old? Say hi. Okay, so that's how I do that. I keep the water up high until they get older, around this age, around 3.5 weeks or so. I start to move I don't have the food up here because I don't want them to choke on it. But then when they get a little bit bigger, I use a brand called Biljack because it's kind of like rabbit pellets. It's weird. I use rabbit cages and food that's shaped like rabbit pellets. But the rabbit pellet type food actually disintegrates, called Biljack. It disintegrates in their mouths and they won't choke on it. So I had 4 up there. I got 5 down here. It's just so fun right now. Can't wait till they're about 5 weeks old. I'm going to do a video of all 17 of them together in a playpen. Is that they move when they're 5 weeks old? They move to a playpen. And then we got over here these guys. These are the ones that are 4 weeks old, and they got their water on the thing on the ground. Can you open this up? There they are. And I do have rugs down here because if they happen to fall out of the cage, especially from the top shelf, I want them to fall on a cushion and have a better chance of survival, because that could happen. I've actually had it happen before. Nobody's ever died, but it has happened. And we got these guys. 5 more. Yes, we do. We got 5 more of you guys. Wake up. Say hi. Okay? Let's say hi, everybody. Hi. Oh. They're very cute. But that's my system. And what else did I want to say? Yeah, stay tuned for what I wanted to say is, if you wanted to look up my incubator system, I did a video on that. Lifeline incubator is one I use, and I have another video that I did that shows the whole setup, how easy it was, and the settings and all that kind of stuff. Okay, bye.